In Star Wars Squadrons, the Interceptor class was designed primarily for dogfighting and not taking down capital ships. However, the recent addition of ion rockets has given Interceptors new ability to help their team take out the main objectives. And in particular, a buff to the overcharged shield component has made the A-Wing exceptionally effective at hit-and-run attacks on enemy capital ships. What's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and today I'm sharing with you a multi-purpose Interceptor loadout that's designed not only for dogfighting, but also taking out enemy capital ships, so you can play multiple roles on the battlefield and not have to switch fighters. You can dogfight when you're on defense, and when you're on offense, you can wreak havoc and get out with incredible speed that a bomber just won't be able to match. Let's go ahead and get right into it by describing this loadout, which is going to be pretty much the same across either the Imperial or the New Republic, except the New Republic A-Wing is going to have access to those overcharged shields that I was talking about before. Now, I suppose the lasers are kind of a personal choice for you, but I prefer the standard laser cannon, only because it gives me that extended range of a full 1,000 meters, and that matches up with the range of the rockets. Taking the ion rockets, which is going to give me the ability to wreak havoc on enemy shields, so I can rip those off real fast and start getting damage on the enemy hulls, and then the auxiliary rockets, which are great for putting out damage in dogfights as well as against those hardened targets of the objectives, whether that be the subsystems or the cruisers or frigates. Countermeasures are kind of your choice. I'm taking the dampener hull because as an interceptor, I'm going to be hard to hit with lasers, but easier to hit with missiles. And then the most important one for the A-Wing is to take those overloaded shields, which now have the buff that they start completely overcharged. And this is a ton of extra health points that the A-Wing absolutely needs. However, you need to be aware that if your shields get completely destroyed, they will not recharge, and you will have to go back to your hangar and respawn in order to actually get them back. I picked the propulsion engine because I really appreciate the acceleration and being able to get in and out fast. I don't need extra speed because I'm already an interceptor. Now, when it comes to actually using this in battle, the TIE Interceptor makes really good use of the ion rockets not only against capital ships, but in dogfighting as well. New Republic fighters simply aren't going to be prepared for the amount of damage that you can put out with your ion rockets, your regular rockets, and your lasers firing at the same time. And you can absolutely melt them within a second or two. However, you do have to be aware that the ion rockets travel quite a bit slower, so it's not going to be something that you can hit from quite a long range. You're going to have to be really close to your target if you want to land these rockets in a dogfight. However, it's much easier to land them when you're attacking an enemy capital ship, like the corvettes or the frigates or what have you. One of the big benefits of using an interceptor to do attack runs is the sheer amount of boost that it can hold. If you didn't notice already, each of the classes can actually hold a different amount of boost in their meter. You'll notice this when you use it. The bomber's boost runs out quite a bit faster than the interceptors. And so an interceptor can fully charge its boost meter, go all the way to an objective, empty its entire payload of rockets, turn around and boost all the way back home, probably before the bomber would even get there at all. The speed with which you can make an attack run is absolutely incredible. However, you need to remember that speed is just about the only thing keeping you alive as an interceptor. Your attack runs need to be very fast in and out, and you can't mosquito as if you were a TIE bomber. Sitting still for any length of time is a death sentence for an interceptor. You're either going to be ripped apart by enemy fighters or the turrets equipped on the capital ship itself. Either way, it's a bad idea that will end up with your death, so make sure you keep up that speed. Now, much of this also applies to the A-Wing as much as it does to the TIE Interceptor, except for maybe dogfighting with the ion missiles. They just aren't going to be as effective against the TIEs who aren't equipped with shields, and so unless you have a support ship who's constantly keeping them shielded, I would save your ion missiles for doing damage against their capital ships. One of my favorite parts about the A-Wing loadout that's unique to this is the overloaded shield component, which makes your shield start overcharged whenever you respawn. And this is extremely powerful for the A-Wing. As soon as you spawn, you can redirect power to your engines or your lasers, instead of towards your shields, which are usually what I would recommend overcharging first, getting your extra layer of health on before going in for your attack run. But with that out of the way, as soon as you spawn, you're free to, say, overcharge your lasers before the first dogfight and give yourself that extra damage dealing power. Or if you're just respawning in the middle of the match, you can redirect your power towards your engines and speed in towards the heat of battle, shaving extra seconds off the time it takes you to get back into the fight. Having overcharged shields as soon as you spawn cannot be undervalued. However, you need to be careful about losing the shields completely. If you lose the shields completely, they do not recharge, and you'll have to either die or fly all the way back to your own hangar and get your respawn on in order to have those shields restored once again. So monitoring the health of your shields is definitely going to be a very important part of flying this A-Wing class. But as long as you're sticking to the principle of moving fast, staying in cover, and using that extra boost, the extra speed that the Interceptors can take advantage of, you should have no problems. Just make sure you're recharging those shields on a regular basis. Best time to do it is when you're in the resupply area after you've performed your attack run. You can get your full health back and then get right back into the fight. And it's ridiculous how fast this can go. You can rip through the shields of the enemy objectives and then move on to their Star Destroyer real quick, fast, and in a hurry. I mean, as you can see right here, I'm absolutely dominating with this A-Wing right now. On my second attack run, I'm already going to get both of the objectives' shields down. And if you haven't noticed, this has been the same game clip running for about 3 minutes now, and I haven't died yet. We were able to start the game, flip to the aggressive immediately, and then I'm able to rip the shields off both of their objectives, and I still haven't died yet. And that's only because of the overloaded shields and the extra survivability that they give me, in combination with the extreme speed with which this Interceptor class can put out some damage on both enemy fighters as well as enemy objectives. And being able to flex between dogfighting and objective destroying is extremely important in Star Wars Squadrons, especially if you're playing solo. You can't necessarily rely on your teammates to take down objectives. Sometimes you're going to have to be the person that take down objectives as well as take out enemy starfighters. And so having an Interceptor that's really fast, really good at dogfighting, and can do some damage to the capital ships as well is super helpful. Granted, it's not going to be as much damage as, say, a bomber could put out, but the bomber also isn't going to be able to dogfight nearly as well as the Interceptor can. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something from it. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you guys are interested in staying up to date on Star Wars Squadrons, make sure you click the subscription bell and hit that notification button. And if you want to know how to execute a perfect attack run on a Star Destroyer, then go ahead and watch this video right now. It's actually part of the new obstacle courses seen in the game. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just meaty yogurt, and I'm out.